You are listening to the Marc Guzman Podcast Experience. Concord Residential Rent Review Program. So what is this program? On June 23, 2017, Concord's Residential Rent Review Program took effect, giving tenants the right of non-binding mediation when they receive a rent increase of more than 10% in a 12-month period. The more than 10% threshold is based on comparison to the rent charged 12 months prior, rather than being limited to the percentage of increase in any single notice. For example, a tenant who receives notice of a 5% increase has the right to non-binding mediation if they have received another increase of more than 5% in the past 12 months. This applies only to residential rent properties within the city of Concord with 3 or more units. Section 8 or other government subsidized rentals are exempt. So what are the notice requirements? The ordinance requires owners to include a notice of availability of rent review with every rent increase notice within any new lease agreement or renewal of a lease agreement. The notice is required to be served even if the amount of the increase or lease renewal does not entitle the tenant to mediation. Rent increases that do not include the notice of availability of rent review are automatically void. The notice of availability of rent review must be provided in both English and Spanish, regardless of language spoken by the tenant. So, what's the process look like? A tenant has 15 calendar days after receipt of the notice of rent increase to petition for rent review. The owner will be contacted shortly afterwards to begin the process. A property manager can negotiate on behalf of the landlord if the proper paperwork is completed. Mediation is done face-to-face in a neutral location with a professional mediator where each party will have the opportunity to provide documents and evidence and express their position. If an agreement is not reached, either party may request a non-binding hearing before a rent review panel. So other items to consider. Since non-binding, my opinion is that this is a waste of resources and time. Of course, harassment and retaliation is prohibited, but this was the case even before the program was passed, because now the program requires all landlords to register and pay $16 per unit annually to cover the cost of the programs. Again, another way for the city to collect fees on property owners. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lubman. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share the podcast. Remember, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. For more information on my business as a property manager and real estate team, go visit my website at marcguzman.com.